Okay. Random Richie moment. So yesterday, I was watching a podcast. Um, and technically, I guess it's now just a YouTube news show. The Philip DeFranco show. They're spotlighting a creator that a lot of people felt was fat shaming. Um, so, a couple things I want to say about weight. Yes, the title weighing on my mind was a pun. It was intended. But what I want to say is this: as a lifelong fat guy, um, we have to find that balance between comfort and what our body wants us to do, um, and will let us do, kind of a thing. Um, no, it's not good for our frames to carry so much weight. At my largest, I was 6'4" and over 500 pounds. Last time I weighed myself was 373. I haven't weighed myself in a few days. I don't know if that has changed. Do not just go chasing drugs like Ozempic and Trulicity and things like that and hope that it is going to just shed that weight off you magically, because the moment you stop using that medication, you're going to start gaining everything back. It needs to be a healthy lifestyle choice and making better choices in our lives. I'm not saying get skinny. Get skinny is not healthy for everybody. Some folks, it is perfectly healthy. And if they want to be that way, and if they are in a healthful state, more power to them. But you need to be at a healthy medium. You've got to concede some. You know, I am never going to look like a WWE superstar. That's an unrealistic view. It's an unrealistic attitude to have, especially 51 years of age. No way that that's happening. I can get into a much more healthful state. And yes, I know that several, the individuals, um, with the WWE lifestyle who are still alive in their 50s are still pretty, um, in pretty decent shape, I should say. But again, I'm starting to squirrel. I only have a little bit of time before I've got to do something for work, so I wanted to get in here real quick and say something. Um, so portion control, eating slower, realizing when you're full, things like that will go far in helping you in a weight loss journey and to keep it off. If you're just relying on medications, if you're just relying on fad diets, the second you get off that stuff, you're going to go right back. So you need to use the word diet as it is truly defined, not as we use it in today's society. In today's society, we use diet as something short term. Diet is actually the way we eat. That's literally what it is. It's the way we eat. We need to change our long-term diet, not hop on a short-term fast track. Not everybody can eat keto for a long time and their body be able to do everything that it needs to. They're not getting everything, and they're getting too much of some things. So some things will fly out of weight, or out of stack. So you got to find what works for you. What you're going to want to do is try a couple of new recipes that are healthier, that have less preservatives, less crap in it. going back to more of a whole foods aspect where you might have meat, some seasoning, that's it. Not a lot of added preservatives and crap like that, and added processing junk going into things that's going into the meat that's now going into your body and changing chemically in your body and causing other issues. Another thing is if you are having weight issues, look and have your sugars checked on a regular basis to see if you might be becoming diabetic. So sugars come into the body. Your liver decides whether it needs to release fat stores or store fat stores based on the excess energy that is coming into your body. So you are consuming more energy than you are putting out into your lifestyle. Therefore, it is being stored as fat. So, and that's not just actual sugar. Everything we consume gets turned into sugar for the body to process into energy. So, this thing to think about right there is, how much am I consuming? How much am I doing? Things like that. Move more. I'm not saying today go out and run a marathon. That's fucking stupid. If you have had a sedentary lifestyle, if you're not used to being mobile, or if you're mobile challenged, that ain't gonna happen. Move more. Do 3 laps of your hallway. Do a lap around your house or apartment building or whatever the hell you live in. Move more. Walk to the mailbox 4 times today. You don't have to check it every time. Your neighbor's going to think you're crazy. But, just walk out to the end of your driveway, walk back up, what have you, Or again, if you're in an apartment complex, walk down to the end of the sidewalk, walk back, that kind of a thing. If you can't make it all the way, realize when you're like, I think I'm at the halfway point, turn around and come back. Because there's no sense into walking into you're finally spent and you're like, screw it all. I've got to go back now. Be reasonable. Then the next day, try to go 1 to 5 steps more. More if you can. Bonus. Cool. But if you can only get to that halfway point, walk 1 more step. 1 more step is not going to kill you. It ends up being 2 more steps in the end because it's 1 more step away and then 1 more step back. So it's, again, 2 more steps. But again, that's slowly building things up. And that's really what we need to do is we need to have a better approach to life, a better way of thinking for life. The more that we do action-wise, the more your liver is going to be like, all right, let's unlock some of the fat stored in, or the sugars stored in these fat cells, bring that in to burn, to process into energy, so your body can do the things that it needs to do. If you are putting on a lot of weight and you can't figure out what's going on, check for diabetes, check for liver issues. Diabetes and high blood pressure will lead to your kidneys failing on you faster. So keep those in check. Keep your sugars in check. Keep your blood pressure monitored to make sure that you're not going too crazy as far as that goes. Because again, those 2 things will play hell on your kidneys. And let things go too far out of whack for too long, you'll end up on dialysis, and dialysis is not a happy thing. For those of you that don't know what dialysis is for you when your kidneys are no longer able to clean your blood properly. So once, however often you are scheduled, some folks are scheduled for every week, some every couple of weeks, some couple times a week. You're basically set into a chair and they take your blood out one side, run it through a machine to clean it, and run the blood in back the other side. and you're stuck there for a couple of hours while the entire process happens. At least last time I knew anything about it, it was a 2 to 4 hour process. That was not entirely pleasant, but again, many years have passed since the last time I talked to anyone about really what they went through on dialysis. So things could have changed. Improvements are being made all the time. But I would still say having to carve out time from your life to go get plugged into a machine just to have your blood cleaned, probably not a real good way to spend a day. So back to everything else. If you are trying to be more healthy, find recipes that are healthier, that have fewer processed ingredients, a little less hamburger helper, and maybe find other ways to go ahead and stretch that. Look back at some recipes from the Depression era. They didn't have things like hamburger helper and stuff like that, so they had to find other ways to try to go ahead and stretch what little that they had. Some of those are kind of tasty, and some of those need a lot of work. But again, try to find stuff with fewer processed ingredients, less processed sugar, less processed flour. Flour in itself, not bad. White flour, not nearly as good as the stuff that doesn't have everything pulled out of it. That's why they have to enrich the flour with vitamins and stuff like that, because they pull all the vitamins out of the stuff that they take out that nobody wants. Funny thing is, back in the medieval period, a quote-unquote white bread and things like that would be the foods of the upper class, where nowadays that's the food of the lower class. Back then, your brown breads, stuff that had the whole grains in and still, things of that nature, things without a lot of added flavorings and preservatives and crap like that, is what the common man ate. Nowadays, that's the more expensive shit that the rich people eat. Kind of funny how that has turned around on us. But again, eat healthier. Just make healthier choices. And by healthier choices, I'm not saying you necessarily have to eat a whole hell of a lot less, but realize when you are full and stop eating. Be mindful about your eating. Don't just sit there with a bag of chips and a movie and at the end of it be like, where the hell did the bag of chips go? As you're brushing crumbs off your face, be mindful about your eating. Turn off devices, turn off TVs, maybe have a radio playing in the background. Better if you're having a meal with a person and you can sit there and talk with them during that time. I know I need to take a lot more of these steps that I'm outlining myself. I take some of them here and there, but I need to play more wholeheartedly into these things. But be mindful about what you put into your body. Again, avoid as many preservatives and processed crap that you can, because those chemicals are leaching the things that your body really needs. And they're prohibiting your body from processing things the way that it really needs. So find healthier recipes and start incorporating healthier recipes into your rotation. And what you're going to do is you're going to find between 3 and 5, or more, whatever floats your boat, recipes that you add to your rotation for every recipe that you want to take out of your rotation. So hamburger helper is part of your weekly rotation. Find 5 or so healthier meals to add into your rotation before pulling that unhealthy one out. And you are going to feel less restricted. You add more things and then you take one or two small things out. You add more things, take more of the unhealthy stuff out. So you are putting more things in so that you're not missing what you're taking out. Anytime you got to take stuff out of your life, that is probably one of the best ways to do it is add things of the right nature before you subtract things of the bad nature. And what that will do is that will trick your brain into not realizing that you removed something because hey, it's no longer here, but we have all this other stuff that we're concentrated, we're focused on, so we didn't notice that these other things went away. So substitution through addition. Add more things to what you're trying to do before you take some stuff away. It just makes it a little bit easier. It again, you're not going to notice, when the bad stuff is no longer present. Again, skinny's not necessarily bad, but skinny's not necessarily the end goal for everyone. It shouldn't be the end goal for everyone. There are a lot of people who are quote unquote skinny who are still unhealthy for completely different reasons than people who are overweight. Find the balance. Find where your body is and needs to be. I'm never going to be skinny. I don't want to be skinny. We never really planned on being skinny. I just want to be healthy. And I don't know if I will ever end up being completely healthy. So right now I'm going to settle for healthier. One step closer on my health journey. One step at a time. That's how we got to take these things. It's not a sprint. It's not a race. It's not a, we have to win. It's a destination. It's a journey. We just got to get there. We're going to have stops along the way. That's the way life is. It's a journey. Just remember, everything in life is a journey. And if you are in the middle of a health journey or any kind of journey, just remember, one more step. Breathe. One more step. Breathe. One more step. Breathe. Take it as you need it. I don't have to cross that finish line today. I just have to take one more step. And we're going to have days that things are just going to fuck everything up for us all together. And we are just going to completely go off track and just not be able to sustain what we need to do for that one day. Well, you know what happens the next day? One more step. Breathe. We don't beat ourselves up over it because those negative emotions are going to put us back into that bad mindset that we were in that caused everything to happen in the first place. I suck. The world is against me. I'm never going to get this done. I'm just going to take this bag of chips, this bag of cookies, and this tub of ice cream and go sit on the couch and cry. No. Don't beat yourself up over that shit. It doesn't make sense. It's one, the stress hormones that get caused from that are going to cause your body to retain weight and hold on to things anyway. Try not to be stressed. And that's another thing. Exercise is a great stress reliever. There's a lot of things that are great stress relievers. Work on a stress reliever to help ease what's going on in the background. And again, that's another reason why high blood pressure sometimes is a roadblock to us in our weight loss journeys as well, because that higher blood pressure might mean that we are seeing stress in our lives that we're not paying attention to. Our body and our subconscious are seeing it, and it's causing our stress levels to rise. And again, it causes weird stuff with our hormones, which means that our bodies are not properly producing everything chemically, and they're not working properly chemically. So weird things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen. So we need to avoid that kind of thing when at all possible. I will learn how to speak here eventually. It's not like I do it for a living. Spoiler alert, if this is the first of my rants that you've ever seen, technically this was a random Richie, not a Rich's rant. But uh, if this is the first time you have experienced anything from me, um, I am a technical trainer. So for a living, I do speak to people, I do train people, I do teach people. And in fact, about 45 minutes, I have to do a new hire training for a new attorney coming into the firm. So, that being said, look for things to de-stress in your life. Look for stressors in your life and try to cut those out if at all possible. Exercise more. Eat a little bit better. In the beginning, calories aren't as important in the weight loss journey as finding foods that are less chemically processed. Once we find that, then we can go ahead and start backing off. So once we have the healthy eating regimen, the healthy recipes, the healthy meals, then we can start, weaning off on some of the caloric intake to go ahead and, again, make our bodies want to use up the fat stores that are currently in our body. When we lose weight, and we're doing exercise and stuff like that, also realize one very important thing. There really is not, as far as a diet and exercise regime goes, any way to hotspot or pinpoint where fat loss is going to occur. Fat loss happens over the entire body, not just, you know what, I want to work on my arms so that my arm, no, it's that energy and everything is coming off the entire body. You're going to lose fat over the entire body, just not in perceptible levels unless you're going really hog wild into it and stuff like that, or have been doing it for a while. You're not going to see instantaneous changes. You're going to see changes over time, and that's what it is. It's a slow burn. You're doing it over time. But the only way to pinpoint fat loss in a body is through liposuction, surgeries, things of that nature, where they're physically removing that tissue. Also know that when you lose weight, you will start getting extra skin. Again, exercise, lower caloric intake, things like that will eventually start tightening those areas up as well. But again, you're gonna have issues where you're going to be looking at your body and you're like, why is this better? You still need to do more. You still need to get further on the journey for everything to finally kick in and get to the point it is. The lower and slower your fat loss, the easier it is for your body to kind of catch up with that as far as the loose skin goes. Again, there are some individuals out there who have to go and get surgical help with removing the excess skin and things of that nature. So just remember that that's going to happen. What else? So many things. I've spent more time researching weight loss and fat loss and better diet and better exercise and how to do things appropriately than anyone my age really should ever have to do. Another thing is healthy weight loss is no more than half to 1 pound a week on a regular basis. That's not saying, hey, you had 1 week where you had a 10-pound, weight loss. And, something's wrong, something's unhealthy, something like that. Sometimes that will happen. And that's perfectly fine when that does happen. But if that is, again, on the regular basis instead of the slower half to 1 pound, it can become unhealthy. Things might not be regulating properly in your body and cause other things to go haywire and bad stuff. So we want the slow, steady approach. We want to be the tortoise in this scenario, not the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. But again, we need to do this to have a healthy life, not to be skinny. Skinny is not always healthy. We want to have a healthy balance. So again, you don't want the consistent long-term weight loss and stuff like that. Also, with certain diets, the keto diet, one of the reasons that people lose so much weight in the beginning of that is because the process that they're doing is actually causing them to have to pee a lot more. So what they're doing is they're starting to pee out a lot of that extra water weight. So the first part of any fad diet, where you can lose just a ton of weight really quick, you're not losing fat, you're losing water. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have 30 to 60 extra pounds of water weight in your body, again, that's extra weight on your frame that you shouldn't be having to deal with. Losing that much in water over a couple of weeks is not a bad thing. It is actually a very good thing for you because, again, it means that you don't have extra fluids in your body. Extra fluids in your body can lead to lymphedema or pedal edema and stuff like that. I have lymphedema, so my lymph system, when it comes to my lower extremities, is not pumping the fluids back up into my core for it to be processed properly by the rest of the lymphatic system and my kidneys to go ahead and remove it. So I actually have to put my legs into these sleeves, every day, a couple times a day, and run those for an hour. And basically, they kind of act like water wings. They inflate. And what it's doing is that inflation it's squeezing that fluid back up into my core so that it can be processed properly. So when you have to do something like that and you're pushing stuff from limbs back into your core, a couple of things. You will have to use the restroom, both 1 and 2, more frequently because, again, those fluids coming back in your body's trying to get rid of it in any way, shape, and or form. You will probably sweat a lot more. You might see a lot more mucus creation in your body, stuff like that. Because again, your body is trying to get rid of it in every way possible. Squeeze it out of your pores, squeeze it out through your urinary or fecal removal systems in your body, things of this nature. So, true weight loss is very disgusting and scatological. So, just be more mindful of that. And again, it's, if you're doing things where, all of a sudden you realize you're going to the bathroom more times a day, realize you will probably see weight loss, when you start looking at the scale. But if that happens, pay attention to, coloration of your urine, to make sure that it is still a nice, light, almost transparent color. The darker it is, it means you are getting dehydrated and you need to hydrate. or bad things will happen and your body will start shutting down on you. So weight loss, there's a lot of moving parts to track and keep track of. What you do, you start with one small thing, you get into the habit of that. So the easiest way for the human mind to learn, we're not going to do, because technically it's assault, although it's not really assault on yourself, but it is something that can get other people to be able to get you locked into an institution, because usually self-harm is looked down on. That is negative reinforcement through pain. We learn a lot faster through touching the hot pan that we don't want to touch the hot pan than the 19 million times our mom says, Richie, don't touch the hot pan, you're going to get hurt. So we learn a lot better through negative reinforcement, because we don't want to be in that state. So it becomes a thing of avoidance. In a case like this, we really don't want to do positive reinforcement through rewards, if it's a food reward. Now, I mean, every once in a while having, that brownie or that sundae or something, that's not going to kill you. Everything through moderation. If we can keep everything in moderation, we're all good. It's when we're like, you know what? Every day this week, I'm going to go to Dairy Queen and get myself a large cherry slush with extra syrup. Yeah, we're fucking ourselves on that. But if it's like, once every month or once every couple of weeks, I'm going to go get myself a medium or small slushie. And that's not bad. But again, we need to find that balance, that moderation. Everything I've said, we've got to find a balance. We've got to find moderation. We got to find where we can have it where it's not a tipping point. Or if there is a tipping point, it's very slight. We want to go slow. We want to do this the right way. We want to think. The worst things that happen to us in life is because we made a decision too fast without stopping to think about it. Being in IT and being a trainer, we train about phishing scams and social engineering scams and stuff like that. And one thing that is involved in that involves here as well is stop, think, then react. Stop for a moment, look at the information that's in front of you, and then choose your path. If we choose something too fast and we don't think about it, we run the risk of messing with our health. So just think about that. Bear that in mind. Just remember, life is not a race. It's a journey. You want to get to the end of it. You want to get to the end of it and have had a pleasant journey, not get to the end of it and be like, no, it's you. We need to think. We need to react. So we need that time. We need to slow down. We need to look at things. We need to sit there and measure things over a long time to go, okay, are we constantly going down? Are we on a plateau? Are we going back up? Where are we going? And then we also want to look in, okay, so the uptick in these numbers, is this the good stuff that we want to increase in our life? Or is this the bad shit that we want to go ahead and get rid of in our life? And then make small changes. So if we can make a small adjustment, see where everything's going, make a small adjustment, see where everything's going, make a small adjustment, see where everything's going, we have a better chance of striking that balance. Because we're not making a huge change. Okay, everything's good. And then we see that it's swung too far in the opposite direction. And we make another huge change. And I mean, we're It is a seesaw. It is a teeter-totter. But again, the smaller changes that we make, things slowly come into alignment, and then we're done. We don't have to make any more changes. Where if all we're doing is we're making large changes and we're chasing those large changes, we're fucking ourselves, and not the good way. So, small changes, add more recipes into your diet before stripping old recipes out. Bring new foods in before getting rid of other foods. And getting rid of another food doesn't necessarily mean that you can never have it again. It's just instead of it being a weekly staple, maybe you have it once a month. Maybe you have it had it. Wow, that was a weird change to my diction there for a moment. Maybe you have it on special occasions or something like that. Maybe it becomes a birthday thing, or maybe it becomes a family dinner thing or something like that. Where not family dinner where it's like you and the immediate family sitting down every night, but maybe a family dinner thing where it's once a quarter. Your sisters come into town and it's a big thing for everybody, or a family reunion thing, or a picnic thing, or something, or it's find places in your life for it to fit. Where especially if it's a really decadent dessert or something like that, then you make a crap ton of it and you take it to the church picnic and you take your leftovers home and eat it for a couple of more days, and everything is good to go, and you don't have to have it again for another 6 months to a year or what have you. Don't beat yourself up when you have days that you feel that you didn't succeed. So there's a lot of my friends out there who like to use the word failure. Just because you didn't live up to the diet. And again, we're talking long-term diet, not short-term diet. We're not talking keto 3 week, lose 180 pounds and have a heart attack the next day kind of a diet. We're talking, long-term, sustainable, rest of your life eating plan. Just because you failed, I used it. Just because you didn't succeed in living up to all the ideals for that eating plan, that your life plan for that day, doesn't mean that you failed. It means you didn't succeed. Lack of success is not failure. Failure is when you choose to stop trying because of lack of success. That is when you fail. As long as you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you're like, all right, fucker, let's try this again. You're keeping at it, everything's good to go. So I don't know if Edison really said this, but all my life I've been told that a reporter once asked Thomas Edison why he kept trying to make the light bulb if he failed so many thousands of times, or whatever the hell it was. And he said it wasn't that he failed all those times, it's just he found a way that it didn't work all those times except the last one. And again, I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head. It's been a really long time since I heard the original quote. And who knows if the original quote even had the number correct or if that was inflated. Because we all know that the telephone game, each time you pass it on to someone else, it gets tweaked in some way or another. So that's also why I say I don't even know if it's properly attributed to Edison, or if people are just attributing it to Edison. Because, I mean, God knows that motherfucker stole so many things from so many people. But again, if he didn't screw over people, we wouldn't have had a lot of the cool shit that Tesla gave us. Because he fucked over Tesla, and then Tesla's like, you know what, screw you, I'm going home. And he went and he invented a bunch of other stuff after he left ways working for Edison. And who knows if that's even a true story. I mean, the story is that Tesla worked for Edison, and Edison offered a huge um, um, bonus for anyone who could do a certain thing and work out a certain problem. And Tesla was like, all right, I'll take a crack at that. And he figured out a way to do it, and Edison fucked him on it. So there was a parting of ways. I don't know if Tesla was fired or Tesla was like, fuck you guys, I quit. But again, I digress. Squirrels. It happens. See, this is why I call these things random Richie. I'll start talking about one thing and I'll get into something completely different. But again, that's a thing to take is it's not failure if you don't succeed. It's failure when you quit and give up because you feel you can't succeed. Now, there's certain things that you really can't succeed on no matter what because of certain biological, biochemical, and physical limitations in your own bodies. Don't try to do that stuff. Do not try to breathe underwater. We are not appropriately built with that kind of functionality. Who knows? Maybe someday there'll be guild people, but not today. So there's certain things that you're going to fail no matter what. But it's more stuff to think on and noodle on. And when you are looking at your diet, and again, I'm not talking short term, I'm talking long term. When you're looking at your diet, when you're looking at supplements that you're bringing into your body, when you're looking at medications you're bringing into your body, when you're looking at activities that you are going to be doing with your body, you need to look at the long term. You need to start someplace easy. So, what do I mean by that? So, if you are mobility limited, and you have issues with walking long distances, lifting large weights, things of that nature, what you do is you go to YouTube and you look for mobility impaired workout and stuff like that. There is a series out there, at least there was. I haven't looked at for it in a while. I should really check to see if it still exists. It was called Launchpad Workout, and it was where you're going to launch your workout journey from, kind of a thing. And basically, in a seated position, if you had a couple of cans of vegetables or soup or something from your pantry, a couple of jugs of water, maybe a resistance band, maybe some really light barbells from like Five Below or something like that, you can start your workout journey. And it's sitting and in a chair, and it's doing some curls, some extensions, some rows, things out to the side, stuff like that, in a seated position, lifting your knee as far off the ground as you possibly can, bringing it down, and doing these in so many repetitions. And you start out with a very low number of repetitions, and then you try to do that set so many times a day. Then you start increasing your number of repetitions until it gets to a decent number. And then what you do is you back off 5 repetitions and you add another set. And again, you get to the point where that's no problem. back off, 5, and then add another set. So maybe you start with 5 repetitions of something, and you work till you get up to 20. All right. Well, what you do is you bring it down to 15 repetitions, and you add an additional set in the day. And then you get to a point where you get that up to 30. Then you knock that down to 25 and add an additional set throughout the day. And what this is going to do is it's going to increase your strength. It's going to increase your flexibility in the areas that you are working, and it is going to increase your endurance. And then once you get to a certain point, you can graduate to maybe a standing workout, or maybe some heavier barbells or whatever. So when you're dealing with the weight, so what you can do is maybe you're dealing with 2-pound barbells. Okay, you get up to 20. Now what you do is you knock it down to 10, and then you increase that from a 2-pound barbell to a 5-pound barbell. Then you get back up to 20, you knock that back down to 10, and then you increase that to a 10-pound barbell, and then you go up, that kind of a thing. And then once you're at a decent weight barbell, then you just go for a much longer set of reps, and then start increasing the number of reps that you do. So it's low reps, larger number of repetitions to again build up your endurance to something so that you can again build that healthier lifestyle. Going out for a walk, going that one more step. That's exactly what I was saying. So you walk out your front door, you walk 10 steps, you walk 10 steps back to the door. Tomorrow, you try 11. The next day, you try 12. And then you find where your real limit is. And then you're like, all right, so I know that my total limit is doing 100 steps in the day. 100, steps for a quote unquote rep. So, you work on doing just that 100 steps for a couple of weeks. Then you try doing 101, 102, 100, to go ahead and build that out. Although technically, depending on how you're doing it, if you're just doing it around the house, you can plan the exact number of steps. But if you're going outside, you might end up, you can't really increase by just one step unless you come back one step away from your door in a different position and then just take a step over to add your step. You're in reality, you're going to add one step further out, one step further back. So you're going to add 2 steps in a case like that. Because again, when we are doing anything, riding our bikes, going for walks, going for runs, what we are trying to figure out is exactly where is my halfway point. At my halfway point, that's when I'm saying, screw this, I'm going home, turn around and get home, so that we don't get home and we're like, because our body's being, wow, shouldn't have done that. Our body's being in that state isn't really good to us, because we're going to hurt this so much the next day that we're not going to want to do it again. And that's another reason why we want to do it low and slow. So there's pain, there's uncomfortable, and there's discomfort as far as I see things. Discomfort is, I'm no longer comfortable. I'm getting to the point where if I do this for too long, things are going to really not sit right. So that discomfort state is fine to be in when we are working out, because that's what it's going to be like to begin with. We're getting used to the way things are feeling, stuff like that. Uncomfortable is when discomfort's taken a little too far. Uncomfortable is okay, but we really want to avoid uncomfortable. Discomfort is the perfect placing it. So comfort, kind of a no man's land. Discomfort, uncomfortable. And then, so if we slide everything over, so we have discomfort, uncomfortable. Now we have pain. We do not want to get to pain. Pain is going to prevent us from wanting to do things. Pain is going to stop us. Pain is going to get us go, no, I tried that. That didn't work. That is that negative reinforcement through pain. That is us teaching our bodies we don't want to do that. Uncomfortable and discomfort is not something that is going to start forming that memory where we're going to be like, yeah, I can't do this. Because how many times have we been someplace where it was standing room only on a commute or at a public event or something like that, and we were okay. We put up with it. We weren't comfortable. It was kind of uncomfortable, but we still go out and we still do those kinds of things. Discomfort is, you got to squeeze down a little bit so someone can fit in next to you on a train or a bus seat. And for you skinny little motherfuckers out there who were like, I never had that problem. I do that out of jealousy. I'm so far broad across the shoulder that when I am commuting and someone has to sit next to me, I have to round my shoulders like this for the entire time. And my commutes are generally close to 2 hours. So 2 hours cramping myself down, squeezing into the wall. And then what I hate is these people who aren't even wide enough to fill the entire seat, spending the entire ride with their elbow in my side while I am clearly scrunching my fat ass down to fit perfectly within the seat. But again, that's a rant for another day, as that is a rant and not a random Richie. But anyways, so yeah, it's getting to the level of discomfort or being uncomfortable. That's fine. That's going to be a state that we're going to start in. Usually, when we start something new, that's fine. Don't let it get painful. Again, pain is where our body starts building up a fear to something, so we don't do it. So do not exercise to the point of pain. Pain is not gain. Pain is loss. Pain means we are teaching our bodies not to do that ever again. So that's negative reinforcement for pain. We do not want to do that. We want to, educate our bodies. We want to educate our minds on how to do things and slowly build into things and build in muscle memory for things so that our body starts doing things without us having to think about it. For individuals who are long distance riders on bicycles, they have taught their bodies the proper posture and everything to be in for them to be in comfort, and they can just go for miles without realizing how far they've actually gone because they've built up that perfect synchronicity between themselves and the machine. And we basically need to do that for a lot more parts of our lives. We need to do that for, polite interaction with people. We need to build that muscle memory. A lot of people have not kept up on that, and that's a random Richie for another day. That's actually probably a life lessons with crazy Uncle Dick. But still, there's so much beauty and wonder and everything in life that we can't experience when we are leading an unhealthy life, whether that's an unhealthy mental health life, unhealthy um, relationships, unhealthy eating, unhealthy physical activity, or just general bad health. Um, there are days that I hurt so bad that I can't just go out on my little front patio thing here and sit in my chair and enjoy the sunset and watch the birds of prey, circle in the woods not too far off and things like that. That I love those sights. I love that imagery. I love that connection. But again, there's some days that I hurt so bad that as soon as it's time for me to log off from work, I log off, I go lay down, and 4 hours later, I have no idea what the hell happened. Um, so I'm in an unhealthy state. My state is getting healthier. My cardiologist liked the way things looked. He changed a couple things up because he thinks the blood pressure medication I was on, since it is something that dampens the body's ability to create adrenaline, would hinder my weight loss journey. So he put me back on something else that I was taken off of because of potassium. But he wants to have me look at that in a couple of weeks, get a test on that in 2-3 weeks, see how everything's going. He's got. I got to find the paperwork because I kind of need that order to do what I need to do. But he wants all that, taken a look at so that we can make sure that my potassium is not getting too high up, because too much potassium going on in your body, and you are going to have a heart attack. So pay attention to your potassium, pay attention to your sodium. But, he said everything else with my heart looked fine. It's, there was some imagery that showed, or imaging, I should say, that showed that a couple of the walls of my heart were thickening. But he said that is, 50 plus years of hypertension. It's like a muscle. Well, the heart is a muscle. So if I sit here and I do, 500 curls with 70 pounds with my arm every day, God knows I can't do that. I'll be lucky if I can do 5 with 10. But anyways, if you're doing all that and you're just working that one arm is going to be huge, and the rest of your body is going to be crap. So that's what's happening, is because of the high blood pressure, the heart beating as often as that's exercise for the heart. So what that's doing is that's just building up, that portion of the muscle wall of the heart. So probably he's going to have me go for another echocardiogram sometime in the near future to see if we see any thinning of that, because we have definitely seen my blood pressure come down with the medications that he's had me be on. But again, with all that, because my body is feeling better, I can do a little bit more. I don't have nearly as many days of kind of blacking out and not knowing what the hell happened, because I laid down because I was just hurting so badly. So, if you are happy with your size, be you skinny, be you big, more power to you. I do beg you to make sure that that is not causing health issues for you in other ways. Make sure it's not affecting your heart. Make sure it's not affecting any of your other organs, especially your heart, your liver, or your kidneys. Heart, liver, kidney failure, and things really suck for the rest of your life. Heart failure, it might be a very short life. But because heart failure, you might be done before you get to a medical professional, before they can install hardware to go ahead and and do the things that your heart's supposed to be doing on its own. But again, it's make sure that whatever choices you are making, they're your choices and you are happy with them. If you are not happy with where you are in life on any level, health, finances, relationship, whatever, make small changes. Wait that out a little bit, see how everything's going, make a small change. Make a small change. Make a small change. Keep following that to your path, step by step. Take a step, breathe. Take a step, breathe. When I'm at the end of my rope and I'm completely exhausted for the day and I have no idea where the hell else to go, what I do is I look where I'm at and where I need to be. And if I'm not where I need to be, one step towards where I need to be, breathe. All right, I'm okay. One more step. That's how you get to where you need to be when you are beyond what you think you can do. Because you can do a hell of a lot more than you think you can. You're that fucking awesome. You are that damn good. One more step and breathe. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys because I've got to get everything set up for my training session for my new hire. So I'll talk to you later. Be good. Love you all. Can't be good, be good at it. And, life, love, laughter, happiness, hope to everyone. Bye bye.